Now let's dive into the employment space, which would also give you a green card. So we have the EB1, EB2, EB3, the physician national interest waiver, and then we have the EB5. So I'll start with the EB5. If you have a cool 1 million US dollars, you can buy a green card by investing in the United States. So if you have that kind of amount sitting somewhere and you need a green card for yourself and your family, maybe your kids. Most people actually relocate here because they want a better life for their kids, which is it is something that I respect. When I consult with clients who said I'm doing this for my kids, it just means a lot to me. And so if you have some cool 1 million US dollars sitting somewhere that you're not touching, you can invest in the US. You can actually buy a green card with that. So please don't even call us, book us at ablegalconsults.com/booking. So if you have, that's the EB5. If you have some cool 1 million, you can invest in a green card for yourself, your wife, that's your spouse. If I say your wife, then it's just like the woman. So for you, your spouse, and then your kids. Remember, they qualify as the immediate family. So that's the EB5. You can buy a green card. That's the EB1. EB1 is the first base category for the employment-based visa. Let's say the first preference as far as employment-based visa is concerned. So generally, for all employment-based visas, you need a job offer in hand and you must undergo the labor certification process. The labor certification process is where your employer goes to or asks the Department of Labor how much they can pay you, right? Basically, that's just a summary of it. So you put documents together, you go to the Department of Labor by filling out some forms and asking how much we can pay this person, looking at the person's qualification, work experience, school, and all that good stuff. So generally, for all employment-based visas, which will also give you a green card. Remember, we are discussing the pathways to permanent residency, which is the green card. So EB1. EB1 is if you're a person who has extraordinary ability in the sciences, athletics, business, and education, you may be eligible for the EB1. A person of extraordinary ability is big, but it's not that big. It's just some criteria that you need to meet, about 3 of them, and some of three of I think there are like 7 or 10 of them. If you have some publications, published materials about you, the work that you do, if you have won some awards, if you have been the judge of others, or you have judged other people's work. So let's say if you're a musician, there are some other cool musical events where you become a judge, right? So you judge the work of other people. If you have to review the work of other people, so let's say students are having or doing their dissertation, right? And then you have to review it. You may be eligible for that. So a person who has extraordinary ability, it's not as though you must be some shark or some nothing like that. You just have to meet some 3 criteria to qualify as a person of extraordinary ability. There's also the bit for outstanding professors and researchers, and they have to meet. So the researcher has to meet about 2 or 3 criteria. So remember that for this, we are just pointing out the pathways. In our subsequent videos in the coming weeks, we'll dive into them one after the other. As far as the family base is concerned, we have discussed the marriage base, if you recall. So we'll dive into the other pathways a bit deeper in our subsequent videos. So in our subsequent live stream, it's not videos. Yeah, it's still video. So for the EB1 as well, if you are a person who has worked or works as an executive or multinational manager in an organization, you may be eligible for the EB1. And then we have the EB2. EB2 is if you're a person who has an advanced degree or you do have exceptional ability, you may qualify. There's also the national interest waiver bit, which would not require that you have a job offer. So the national interest waiver, I am sure you have heard me say it over and over, That is, if you follow our pages. Number one, if you have an advanced degree, it means that you have at least a bachelor's degree plus 5 years of progressive work experience. The progressive is extremely important because there are people that have worked 2 years, then they pause, then they go to school. It may qualify as work, but technically it's not work for the purpose of the EB2. So you must have 5 years of progressive. Progressive. You can go to school, which is great, but it has to be progressive work experience. So an advanced degree, at least a bachelor's plus 5 years of progressive work experience. And the work that you do must be of one, substantial merit in national importance. Number two, that you're well positioned to advance the proposed endeavor. Proposed endeavor is just like a fancy word, right? It's a fancy term. You must be well positioned to pursue, let's put it that way, to pursue what you want to do. So you are a medical doctor. If we say you're well positioned to advance the proposed endeavor, you have enough work experience, you have the qualification to continue practicing as a medical doctor. That's basically what the proposed endeavor is. So you have enough experience to continue your work. I think that's the layman term, to continue your work in your specialty or in your field. So that's that on the advanced degree holder. Now, the exceptional ability standard for the EB2, you have to meet at least 3 of some 7 requirements. For the exceptional ability standard, you should be a person that have worked for 10 years. So the advanced degree holder is a bit lower, the exceptional ability standard is slightly higher. So we will need letters of recommendation, basically saying that you have really worked for at least 10 years. If your work requires that you do have a license to practice, pharmacists, doctors, attorneys, sometimes depending on the work that you do or your profession, it requires a license. And so it's one of the boxes that you have to check. If the work you do does not require that, let's say you are an HR professional, maybe your work would not require, your profession may not require that you have a license to practice, but there are other professions that would require that you have a license to practice. So exceptional ability standard, you need 10 years of work experience or letters of recommendation. If you have some certifications, that would be great. So you're an IT personnel, you need some certifications. If you have a license to practice, that is amazing. If you have some awards, that's great. I think most people have reached out asking whether you need some publications. Today, I consulted with someone who was asking whether he needed some publications because that's what he's been told. No, you don't need to have some publications to qualify for the EB2 national interest waiver option. So that is that for the EB2. Now let's move to the EB3, which is the third preference immigrant worker, meaning that you are either a skilled worker, which will require that you have at least 2 years, minimum 2 years of work experience or training, or you are a professional, meaning you have a bachelor's degree. That's the minimum, and your job actually requires that you have that minimum educational background, bachelor's degree, and then unskilled worker, meaning that you perform unskilled work like a laborer, working in a restaurant, gardening, and all that good stuff. So that's also another pathway to get a green card. We discussed the immigrant investor, and then the other bit is the physician national interest waiver, which is basically this one as a national interest waiver that we discussed. So thank you for spending some time with us. My name is Akosua Banahene. I am the founder and principal attorney here at AB Legal Consult.